Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Year of Lupin, right here on planet Tyro. You're back here with me, Donald Wonder. So last time you were here, you probably saw 1995's Lupin TV movie special, The Hunt for Harimel's Treasure. And as such, we should be moving on to 1996's feature movie, Dead or Alive. But I want to make an interesting little aside and mention an unofficial Lupin movie released that was done on the western side of the hemisphere, which is technically not a movie, to be perfectly honest with you, but just hear me out, because this is kind of interesting. To start this interesting tale, let's go back a little bit. Let's rewind the clock and go back to the famed animation director Hayao Miyazaki, the co-founder of Studio Ghibli and the creator of one of the most famous Lupin the Third movies, The Castle of Cagliostro. If you missed our discussion on that, click the card in the top right hand corner and go back, because we go into detail on that movie, but I'm bringing this up for a specific reason. So when we're speaking about Hayao Miyazaki and the Lupin franchise, even till today, 2016, Miyazaki hasn't shown much interest in returning to the franchise to do another feature movie. In fact, so many fans have asked him, have requested it, and even in my research, I've gone back to see interviews where people have mentioned it to him and he's just shown very little interest. So even to this date, 2016, he hasn't really done any more contributions to the Lupin movie franchise, but he has shown a little bit of interest in the TV series, and he did make a few minor contributions. Now, to that end, the reason why I bring this up is because one Western production or licensor company, Streamline Pictures, took advantage of Miyazaki's little interest in the TV series and actually exploited it. And exploited is a very strong word, but they decided to repackage a contribution by Miyazaki on a TV series and release it as its own feature-length movie. If you don't know what I'm talking about this little 1996 Western release called Lupin, The Great Escapers. Before I explain how this Great Escapers came to be, let me give you a little bit of timeline. So, The Castle of Cagliostro, as you may already know, was made in 1979. Now, in 1979, I believe the first Lupin series was already airing on TV or it had finished. By the time The Castle of Cagliostro had finished a year later, in 1980, the second Lupin TV series, the Red Jacket series called Lupin Part 2, was airing. And after Miyazaki finished The Castle of Cagliostro, he decided that, you know what? I do want to return to the Lupin franchise, not do another movie, but I want to give a contribution to the TV series currently airing. So to that point, Miyazaki actually produced and directed 2 episodes in the Lupin Red Jacket TV series. That's what Streamline Pictures took those 2 episodes, they repackaged it as one Western release and called it The Great Escapers. Now, the reason why they did this is because they understood Miyazaki was a massively influential and very popular animator, and to be honest with you, these 2 episodes that Miyazaki produced in the Lupin TV series, they weren't even put together. They're like 10 episodes apart. If you look on the screen, I'll obviously put the episodes there so you can see it. And Streamline Pictures knew that this guy made Castle of Cagliostro, he's making all these Studio Ghibli movies, so why don't we take these 2 episodes from the series and make it a movie and sell it as an unofficial movie. Those 2 episodes are only 22 minutes, so it's not even feature length. And again, you could say they were exploiting Miyazaki, but in Japan, these 2 episodes were very famous because people could see just from the visual style that this was Hayao Miyazaki's influence. Now, funny fact about that, Hayao Miyazaki didn't even use his real name on the credits, so you didn't even know it was him until you obviously looked at it and saw the style and it was kind of obvious. But he used a pen name, a different name in the credits of the episodes, and that pen name was Teruki Tozutomu. I know I'm pronouncing that very badly, Teruki Tozutomu, but you know, I can't do my Japanese very well. But anyway, so he went by that pen name, but as I said, it didn't take any follower of Studio Ghibli or Hayao Miyazaki. It wasn't hard to spot. These 2 episodes were visually different. You can see it has all the Studio Ghibli flair, from the animation to what the stories were about. It had telltale signs. Now, those 2 episodes are still in the second Red Jacket series, and I've got some information if you guys want to check it out. So the 2 episodes is actually episode 145, called Wings of Death Albatross, and the second episode is actually the final episode in the Red Jacket series, which is episode 155, called Farewell My Beloved Lupin. So these 2 episodes are 10 episodes apart. They're single episode stories, and they're just episodes in the Lupin franchise. But I wanted to give you guys my opinion on it, because Streamline Pictures also gave it an English dub, which you can find, well, you can find this being sold on Amazon. But I want to give you guys my quick opinion on these 2 episodes, because they are noticeably interesting. So let's start with the first episode, which is, as I said, episode 145, Wings of Death Albatross. Now, to be honest, I don't want to get into spoilers, because these are very short episodes, and even though they're standalone episodes with their own stories, I do want you guys to check it out. It's very quick, you know. So the first Albatross episode, it starts off with a bang. Fujiko just rushes in when Lupin, Jigen, and Goemon are eating. She leaves something for Lupin, which is like a detonator for a bomb device. And again, without spoiling it, it's just this madcap kind of adventure about Lupin having to rescue Fujiko because Fujiko gave him something. The bad guy's holding Fujiko for hostage to do with this nuclear bomb. And this one episode felt like a whole movie compacted into one. The detail in the animation was great. You could clearly see the Studio Ghibli. Great explosions. Again, Hayao Miyazaki, that's those themes of a giant weapon or war or these are the themes he always uses. And this first episode, it's the same kind of theme, this nuclear weapon. But the thing that stands out is Fujiko as a badass. You know, Miyazaki is kind of a feminist. Most of his movies, the Studio Ghibli movies, 95% of them have female characters. When Fujiko first shows in this episode, she just runs in, and even though Lupin is through the most of it, at the end when Fujiko comes again, she's just fast, ass-kicking action. It looks beautiful, fluid. This movie was fun. This episode, calling it a movie, this episode was just fun. Fun, great animation. I just felt like, wow, he could have stretched this out into another movie, and it could have been another Castle in Cagliostro, even though I'm being a bit generous because the story is very simple. We've seen it before, but just the way Miyazaki animates and makes it funny, and the funny thing is, I'll bring this up a bit. When you compare this episode to even the episode before that he didn't produce, episode 144 or whatever, you can tell the difference. The animation difference, the style, what he's going for with the single episode. It's just one episode, but I really enjoyed it. So let's leave it at that. The second episode, Farewell My Beloved Lupin, I wasn't so hot about actually. The plot is, again, very atypical for Studio Ghibli. A giant robot, which we can see is very animated very well. The weird thing about this story, without going into spoilers, is that Lupin and the gang seem very evil. They're doing some really nasty things to the town. People are dying. Places are being bombed, attacked. And again, we see a very prominent female protagonist who's not a main character, not Fujiko, but another female who feels like another Studio Ghibli movie. But this story is a little bit more, it seems to focus on Zenigata more, this one episode. But the animation's really great. Again, you just see, it's another animated beauty spectacle kind of episode. And even though the story, honestly, is kind of forgettable, it's just a nice homage to Studio Ghibli, a nice homage to the franchise. And again, I just felt like, Miyazaki just dipped his foot in the water to show, hey, I can do Lupin really good, and this is my take on it. And after watching these 2 episodes that were pretty good, the first one I preferred, the Albatross one I prefer a lot more. But I just said to myself again, man, I just wish Miyazaki would do another Lupin the Third feature movie with today's animation. He does, God. But anyway, so these 2 episodes are repackaged by Streamline Pictures for The Greatest Capers. And people have asked me, am I going to be covering the TV series? I did mention this in the beginning. Yes, I'll be watching every single TV series. I'll review them season by season or jacket by jacket, however you want to say it. When I finish one season, I'll get back to it, and then I'll tell you if these 2 episodes were one of Lupin's Greatest Capers. But I've seen some of the episodes of the series, and they're not that bad. So, Streamline Pictures, I guess saying that they exploited Miyazaki it's a bit unfair. They took advantage of a situation, and I don't really blame them. Hayao Miyazaki created great pieces of work, he always does, and from a marketing perspective, I can definitely see why they would do this. And this was released, well, even though it was created in 1980, I think the Streamline got a hold of it in the mid-90s, 95 I think it came out, I might be wrong, but you know, check the details. And you can get it on Amazon on VHS, it's not released on DVD. But the whole season 2 of Red Jacket is in English dub. So you can just get those episodes and find it. And you know, guys, let me know what you think of these 2 episodes. I think it's interesting that they packaged it as its own movie. And I know it's not a traditional movie, but this was just a fun aside. I wanted to stop here and make this point out that Hayao Miyazaki did return to the franchise. I really do hope before he passes away, because he's a very old man, he does one more Lupin movie. Because I'm telling you, man, there's something about Hayao Miyazaki that is just genius, and just these 2 episodes show that, you know, he was interested in the franchise even more than just that Cagliostro movie. And for some of you guys that didn't know this, now you know. But I want to make one more aside and talk about something a little bit off topic. I did want to bring something up a little bit controversial with my coverage of the retrospective, because I've been watching a few of these movies features in the original Japanese language, and I have made some complaints about the main Japanese voice actor that played Lupin for the first half of this franchise to this date, which was Yamada Yoso. Now, I do apologize. After the Dragon of Doom movie, he actually did have a brain hemorrhage and he did pass away in 96. So even though I didn't like his performance, his vocal performance, because as I said, I thought it was a little bit too over the top. And I was happy to see that, you know, some people did agree with me. They thought, even though I'm not Japanese, his voice is particularly, it stands out from the rest of the cast. And I just felt he overacted that role. I have to appreciate his contribution to the role. I have no disrespect for this guy. I mean, no disrespect. I have major respect for the Japanese voice actor. And he did pass away. It was very sad. And the voice actor that plays Zenigata, I know he said something very heartfelt in the Zenigata voice. We'll always love you, Lupin. And I'm not going to mention his name because even this man passed away in the late 2000s. But I'll speak about him when we catch up with him later in the late 2000s. Now, the good news about Yamada Yoso, about his passing, well, I know Hope would say the good news is that in his last will and testament, he did recommend his understudy take over his acting duties as a voice actor for Lupin III, and his understudy, Kenichi Kurata, he demanded that this understudy of his take over his acting role as Lupin III, and he did, and even to this day, he still does a Japanese voice acting for Lupin III. And again, I'll make my comments about that. It's all personal preference, but I did have to highlight that because there's a few times in the past I didn't even mention his name, which I really do appreciate. I really do apologize. I really do apologize for Yamada Yoso. My apologies. Very well respected. Rest in peace. And you know, I have respect for all these Japanese and English dub voice actors. You know, and I just have to take this time out because we're taking a pause on the retrospective to mention Hayao Miyazaki, Yamada Yoso, and on the next video we're going to move on. So anyway, guys, I know this was a bit of a long one. I know it was a side. I know it's not an official release, but I thought it was just an interesting tidbit that I wanted to share with you guys. If you've seen these 2 episodes, or if you've seen the way they repackaged it as the greatest capers, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you watched them. And tell me what you think about them. Even if you haven't watched them now, watch them. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Share your thoughts. Do you think this is very stand out from the rest of the series? Can you see the difference with the animation and the story? Or is it just me? Let me know in the comments down below. So anyway, guys, we're going back to the retrospective. The next movie will be Lupin Dead or Alive. So check out that video. But you can hit the annotation on the right to all the other stuff we do at Planet Tyro as we continue on the Year of Lupin and do movie reviews, TV shows, books, and what have you. Thanks for sticking with me for all this time. Thanks for checking out the Year of Lupin, and thanks for checking out Planet Tyro. I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Peace out.